Greetings, mortals. My name is Werner Puchert, and this is Finding Frequency from a very dark Warsaw. And if you're listening to this, you might be thinking, damn it, Werner is slipping up. He's an hour late with this episode. And you know what? You would be wrong, but also right. Because we have just done our little daylight savings thing. So, as a South African, that's a very new experience for me. Albeit the fourth time I am experiencing this is the fact that we are moving our clocks an hour on, if I have the calculations correct. So I had an extra hour's sleep last night because we are trying to save daylight. And I think if I look out the window, it seems to be a good idea. It's very dark. Even though I don't think it makes much of a difference. You wake up in the dark and you go to bed in the dark. Strange. There's a lot of conversation going on that they want to change that. And this week is probably going to be risky, as per every week when daylight savings happens, is that meetings get messed up, schedules are a bit wonky, so I have to prepare myself for that to happen. I'm always well prepared. Oh, by the way, I'm making a cup of coffee. That's why it's a bit random, this one. Also, I started by saying mortals. So a little bit about Poland. Every November, 1st of November, we gather together as a nation and we go to the graveyards. Jokes aside, it's actually an interesting tradition. I'm not entirely sure what it's based in, blah, blah, but it is cool because every 1st of November, everybody goes to go clean graves, pay respects to the dead. It's a family day. This year is going to be different. We have a pandemic. The government has urged everybody to please spread out their grave visiting over a period of 1 week. Other sad part is that people older than 70, they are not allowed to partake in this tradition. They are being protected. So that's actually a general rule that they're encouraging everybody older than 70 to actually stay at home, except for going to the shops, essentials, that kind of thing. But stay at home if you're older than 70. Woo! It's cooking. And I need this cup of coffee. You'll also notice that I'm alone at home because my wifey and my nearly 4-year-old, in February he'll be 4, went over to the in-laws' house. I think father-in-law is being moved to a rehabilitation clinic somewhere in the city where he will get out of my mother-in-law's hair and also get the treatment that he needs to get him back to full strength. I mean, at the moment, health-wise, he's doing well. It's the only thing is that he's been in bed for a long time. Muscles are weak. He needs to get moving, needs to get exercise. That's important. So I also think it's a good idea for him to head out to a clinic environment because unfortunately, as for the most of Europe, I'm not entirely convinced that my family understands what's happening at the moment in the sense of the spike and the pandemic. So, yeah, risks all around because the whole topic of Christmas and all these other festivities needs to be discussed, and that's going to be an uncomfortable discussion, I think. And I'm not sure that they're going to keep to the distancing rules over there. So getting the father-in-law out of the way, especially for most of that period of time, I think is a good idea. So we'll see how that plays out. But in like I started talking about the 1st of November, Marta and my mother-in-law went out today to the cemeteries to go clean the graves, look at the flowers. I think granddad, aunt, and then they also purchased a gravesite for future departures. So that gets cleaned as well. And it's actually interesting. In normal times, when normal was still normal, it is quite interesting to observe or see the cemeteries. I've never seen it at night, but they do light little candles. Even during the day, there's a lot of light around the cemeteries. It's actually a really festive kind of vibe because they're selling these little biscuits and sweets, and there's vendors all over the show and people buying plants and flowers and cleaning and hanging out. So unfortunately, that won't be happening this year, or let's say perhaps a bit of a scaled down version of that. But there's an interesting tradition that happens in Poland. So we'll see what happens in the next week, how people partake and do that or keep to the government's guidances. And of course, as I mentioned yesterday in my rant, that our dear president is also in self-quarantine. He's been diagnosed, and a lot of people around him is kind of being checked. So we'll see how that plays out too. I think it's rather convenient for him to be in quarantine now when there's all these critical topics. It's a good way to avoid it. So the rumor mill is also going around that he might not really be positive, but he's just trying to avoid addressing some of the important topics. But let's not get into politics now. It was a good day today with the family. Martha and I popped out briefly to go get some takeaways for the Sunday. We had a meal here with Francie, being full of beans, of course, as always, the little terrorist. And yeah, just spending a bit of time together and also a bit of time alone. I've actually appreciated Martha this weekend, and I can't thank her enough for leaving me alone for a couple of hours on end just to recharge and also catch up on a few things that is not related to work. So yeah, I'm feeling much more energized and ready for next week, and ready to take on what is ahead. And for me, the next week, I've got a few virtual events lined up that I need to host. 2 kind of new business conversations on Monday. That's interesting. And then I am hoping to take Martha out for a socially distanced meal during the course of the week to celebrate her good work she's doing as a project manager in her company. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling on and thinking about the week ahead. I hope you've got something cool lined up, something extraordinary. So yeah, what is the extraordinary today? Extraordinary is the time I spend with my family once again, and it seems to be a recurring topic. And just being able to be here in Poland and be grumpy about the politics and just looking out the window, seeing the dark weather, but then also taking note that today even, again, the sun came out and just the colors of autumn coming through. Beautiful, very, very beautiful. So I hope you have something that you can value, and don't focus too much on the things that you can't control. That's advice to myself as well. Cool. I think it's time to take first sip of coffee and get this thing published, even if it's an hour late. Wink. Thanks for listening. That's good. It's good.